The NHL's first hometown remix jerseys have leaked, but what do we know about the rest? This is the first edition of NHL Jersey Watch for the 26-27 season, and we can't talk about the new season without talking about Hometown Remix. It has not been officially announced yet, but the rumor mill has been grinding away nonetheless. Early reports say it's hockey's answer to City Connect in baseball and City Edition in the NBA, both produced by Nike. In fact, the NHL has already been down a similar road with Reverse Retro back in 2020 and 22, thanks to Adidas. Hometown Remix is up next and comes by way of Fanatics. All 32 teams will add an extra alternate uniform next season, and details of the new designs are already beginning to emerge. So here's what we know right now, as Icethetics presents NHL Jersey Watch. The Hometown Remix First Look. Initial rumblings began last fall, rumors of a new league-wide jersey initiative to follow the successful Reverse Retro program from Adidas. Then came the name, Hometown Remix, confirmed by a filing with the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office. With all 32 teams taking part, pre-launch leaks would be inevitable. And by May, it started. An eBay listing revealed the first Hometown Remix jersey, the one likely to be the boldest of the entire collection, the Florida Panthers with the NHL's first ever pink uniform. Now, the first question for most fans was, is this even real? There's no sign of Fanatics branding for one thing, and the proportions just seem a bit off. But none of that is uncommon among youth jerseys, which is what was offered in the eBay listing. So it's not an authentic pro game sweater or even a Fanatics premium retail version, but it is a genuine NHL licensed product, and an Icethetics source with inside knowledge confirms this is the final design for the Panthers. So let's dive into the details. First, it's an almost entirely new color palette for Florida. Though they're keeping their navy blue, bright pink replaces their traditional red, alongside a new bright yellow and a sandy orange. This is clearly a look with Miami and the Sunshine State in mind. A decidedly hometown vibe. The crest is a new take on the Cats' classic secondary logo and shoulder patch. The crossed hockey stick and palm tree in front of the sun was used as a crest for the first time on the team's second Reverse Retro jersey in 2022, over a great bright blue base. This time it's remixed, with the sun now rising over the Atlantic Ocean, perhaps a nod to the name of the city in which the Panthers play, Sunrise, Florida. Other details include a remixed version of their primary logo, positioned near the elbows, while the numbers remain on top of the shoulders, echoing their current home and away kits. Then there's the most unusual captain's patch I think I've ever seen, perhaps designed to mimic the ripples in the logo. The ripples are repeated on the inside back hem, broken up with a bit of text that reads, South Florida. If there's a hanger effect, the design inside the collar, it's not included here. That detail is not used on any youth jerseys. And there's more evidence. While I was editing this video, another leak on eBay. This is the purported hometown remix for the New York Islanders. And just like the Panthers, it's another youth jersey. As proof it's from the same series, it's got the inverted NHL shield on the collar. For Reverse Retro 2.0, we saw Adidas swap the textured plastic shield for an embroidered one in the old NHL colors, black and orange. Presumably, this gray shield will be used across all 30 other designs as well. But back to the eBay listing, which describes this jersey as a prototype, which is possible, but an Icethetics source says this is the official design. The Islanders are obviously opting for a 90s throwback, the same theme as their second Reverse Retro. It's the return of the fisherman. The crest is updated from the original, with changes to the typography and removal of the goal net behind the fisherman. In fact, it's the same logo their AHL affiliate wore as a third jersey in 2022, with different colors. Other details include the familiar lighthouse shoulder patches and the wavy stripes meant to mimic the original sweater. Even the old numbers are making a comeback. On this jersey, they're straight instead of following the curvature of the stripes, but is that how they'll be on the game jerseys, or just a way to cut corners on the cheaper kids version? Lastly, there's the interior hemline reading Long Island, New York. Seeing this element on both of the leaked jerseys suggests this will be a through line of the Hometown Remix collection, the name of the team's hometown, called out inside the hem. On that note, let's zoom out for a broader look at the rest of the NHL. I've been told to expect a September rollout of the full Hometown Remix collection. With 4 months to go, it's still early, but I have been able to confirm the base colors for every team's jersey. Granted, that may not tell us much, but it's a good starting point for more fan speculation. Now, after the pink Panthers, the next color that caught my eye was purple for the LA Kings. It was the core color for both reverse retro designs, but it's not a current brand color, nor is it used by any other team across the NHL. Last season, the Kings launched a black third jersey featuring their new crown as the crest. Will that crown make a more colorful appearance in the new remix? Down the freeway, the Ducks are also going with a unique color, green, and not the jade green from their Wild Wing third jersey. Plus, that look was already revisited with the reverse retro. No, for Hometown Remix, you have to look back even further, to a time before the Anaheim franchise existed. I'm told the shade of green lines up with what the cast of the Mighty Ducks movie wore on the big screen in 1992. So, could this look finally make its way onto NHL ice next season? Also wearing green is another team you might not expect, the Blackhawks. While you can find a dash of green in their primary logo, along with most of the rainbow, the Hawks have never worn green as a primary color. That said, they've always gone all out for Irish heritage celebrations in Chicago, so maybe that's our theme here. Next up, the Boston Bruins will be in brown for the first time since their inaugural season in 1924. Their Winter Classic jerseys have all had touches of brown, but it's never been the base color. This design has been described to me as using a collegiate style, so we might be getting a traditional word mark across the chest, perhaps not unlike their 2023 Winter Classic look. On the other side of the coin, the Toronto Maple Leafs are reported to be wearing beige, or vintage white as it's sometimes called, and this will be a first for them. None of their previous throwback jerseys have gone off-white. Could it be paired with leather brown gloves and pants, too, like we've seen with their St. Pat's uniforms? The newest team, the Utah Mammoth, will wear sky blue, the accent color from their new brand. They obviously don't have a ton of their own history to play with here, but they do have this incredible U logo that I'd love to see on a uniform. All I know is it'll be a very Tusk-centered design. For a different shade of blue, we look to the Capitals. Some early reports put Washington in navy blue, some said royal blue, but it's really somewhere in the middle. I'm told it's the blue from their 90s Screaming Eagle jersey. The Caps really have been through a lot of shades of blue in their time. Anyway, I'm guessing we'll see black and bronze with it, most likely. But we do have about a half dozen teams set to wear navy blue. The Predators, no surprise, as fans have been begging for a blue option ever since they shifted to yellow jerseys full-time 15 years ago. The Jets, which is odd considering their home and heritage jerseys are already navy blue, what will they do differently with another one? The Rangers, and this is interesting because they launched a navy third 3 years ago, which got rested last season in favor of their Centennial blue set. I'm assuming that third jersey will be back next fall, but this remix news does give me pause. And then there's Pittsburgh, where navy blue plays a big part in their branding history. It was their main accent color from day one until they switched to black and yellow in 1980. Most recently, the Penguins wore a Navy Winter Classic jersey in 2011, and then adopted that as their alternate for a couple of seasons. The Kraken and Canucks remixes have both been reported as navy blue, but I suspect they'll each use the darker shade that's been part of their existing brand colors. And both PNW teams used that deep blue in their reverse retro uniforms 4 years ago. Elsewhere in the blue family, the Sabres have been listed in some reports as wearing navy blue, a color not exactly associated with their best years historically. However, I've been told it's actually a royal blue base for Buffalo with a recolored goat head logo, kind of a reverse retro. Also going with a standard brand color are the San Jose Sharks, who will of course be wearing Pacific teal. The question is how they'll execute the remix. Will the old crest make another comeback like it did for last season's 35th anniversary throwback? On the other end of the spectrum, two teams are going red, and they're the two you'd likely most expect. The Red Wings finally stepped out of their comfort zone with the second reverse retro, but they were way too conservative on the first one. I'm eager to see where Detroit lands here. The Calgary Flames will also be red, and I'm told there's a bit of a Saddle Dome tribute. As the team embarks on their final season in the old building, an arena-themed jersey would be a first in NHL history. I'm eager to see how they pull that off. All right, the rest don't have the most colorful of base designs, varying shades of white, gray, and black. The Hurricanes and Blue Jackets are going gray, and you might recall the Canes have done that before. Their first reverse retro was a gray Whalers number. It wasn't bad, and it wasn't great. But since Hartford is far from their hometown, I would not expect another Whalers jersey in Raleigh. Columbus, meanwhile, has had gray and silver in their brand for decades, but it's never been a spotlighted color. It got a bit of extra play with the stripes of their Stadium Series uniform a year ago. Of course, that was a more sparkly silver. And could we also see the return of the cannon in the new jersey? 4 teams appear to be wearing white hometown remixes, including the New York Islanders design we saw earlier. The Dallas Stars went all white for their first reverse retro, gloves and pants included. Could they be planning that again? The Avalanche wore white for both of their reverse retros, and maybe it makes sense to keep doing that, since the team is named after snow. And the last one in this group is more of a question mark. Some reports have had the Montreal Canadiens base color as a dark blue, but I have a report that it's white. That's an odd conflict, but what if it's not that clear-cut? Look at this reverse retro from Seattle. Would you say it's deep sea blue or ice blue as the base color? It's kind of 50-50, so I wonder if Montreal's remix is a bit like that. And that just leaves us with the teams wearing black, at least 7 by my count. The Oilers' black base has already been reported. My source corroborates that and says it shares elements with the navy blue third Edmonton originated in 2019. So a return to neon orange accents seems possible as well. Vegas is also reportedly going with black, and some reports suggest it bears similarities to their second reverse retro, maybe another glow-in-the-dark design. The Ottawa Senators already wear black home sweaters, and they didn't really step outside the box for reverse retro, so I hope they have something cool planned for this year. But to be honest, my expectations are not high, but I do hope they surprise me. The Devils just retired the jersey, but they will still have a black uniform in the mix next season, thanks to Hometown Remix. For reverse retro, they played it safe, but these days, I think New Jersey is more likely to try something new and fun. The Lightning are also going black, and they too have been wearing a black third jersey for the last 3 years. But 3 years is all they promised at the outset. So have we seen the last of it? There's been no official declaration that it's gone, but who knows? Now bear with me a sec, because I have a theory about this. Remember when I talked to the head of brand for the St. Louis Blues last year about their rebrand? She said that STL mark on their Winter Classic helmets was not built for that uniform. It was part of their rebrand process, and they just tacked it onto those helmets because it worked. Now think about Tampa Bay's Stadium Series uniform from this season. Nice look, but kind of disjointed. That Jolly Roger in the shoulder patch and the sleeve stripes felt a bit out of place with the rest of the uniform. I know the game was played at the Buccaneers Stadium and all, but still, what if that was just a happy accident? What if that logo was already in development for something like this? A pirate theme has a lot more relevance to the Hometown Remix in Tampa. Anyway, just a thought, it could just as easily have gone the other way. They liked it for the Stadium Series so much they might want to use it again here. So we'll see. Now, sorry for the digression, but since I mentioned St. Louis, let's go there next. Why are they planning to wear black? This is one I can't figure out. I wouldn't really call black a hometown color for the Blues, but maybe it'll make sense in the remix context. And finally, we have the Wild. Black doesn't make sense here either. However, I have been reporting for years on how Minnesota has been trying to develop a black third jersey. We've even seen prototypes turn up on eBay. They did not look great, but why would that stop them? The Wild finally appear poised to get a black uniform after all. Now, if you've been counting or live in Pennsylvania, you've realized there's one team left, Philadelphia. The Flyers were originally reported to be in black with that last group, but I've since learned it's actually a dark gray base for Philly. Their reverse retros were really just recolored versions of their home and away uniforms, so I do wonder if we'll get more of the same or see them finally break out of the box. And with that, I've told you everything I can for now. As summer stretches on, we're likely to see more leaks like the Panthers and Islanders, and maybe even a few official teasers from Fanatics. Until then, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss out on any of my upcoming videos, and as always, thank you for watching. That's all for now. See you next time.